Electrochemistry is the study of generation of electricity from the energy released during spontaneous chemical reactions, and the use of electrical energy to carry out chemical reactions that do not proceed spontaneously. The study of electrochemistry helps us in creating new eco-friendly technologies because the reactions carried out electrochemically are energy efficient and less polluting. A large number of metals, such as sodium and magnesium, compounds like sodium hydroxide, gases like chlorine and fluorine, and many other chemical substances are produced by electrochemical methods. Batteries and fuel cells convert chemical energy into electrical energy and are used on a large scale in various instruments and devices. In human beings, the communication between the cells and the transmission of signals through the cells to the brain and vice versa have electrochemical origins. An electrochemical cell is a device that is capable of either producing an electric current due to chemical action or of producing chemical action due to the passage of electricity. There are two basic types of electrochemical cells. They are voltaic or galvanic cells and electrolytic cells. In voltaic cells, the chemical energy of a spontaneous redox reaction is converted into electrical energy. Voltaic cells are also called galvanic cells. The electrical energy produced by such batteries can be put to useful work, powering our cell phones, radios, and other devices. In electrolytic cells, electrical energy is required to carry out a non-spontaneous chemical reaction. When you recharge your cell phone battery, you are actually running an electrolytic cell. We will be focusing on voltaic cells in this module. Before we discuss how voltaic cells work, let's review the basics. Oxidation occurs when one or more electrons are lost. As a result, the oxidation number of a species increases. Shown here is an oxidation half reaction. Silver metal can lose one electron to form a silver ion. Reduction is defined as the gain of electrons. Note that the oxidation number of a species decreases when reduction occurs. For example, when a zinc ion gains 2 electrons, zinc metal is produced. We talk about half reactions because they only describe half of what is happening. If one species loses electrons, then another species must gain electrons. Oxidation cannot occur without reduction, and reduction cannot occur without oxidation. In an electrochemical cell, both oxidation and reduction must occur. Having trouble remembering the definitions for oxidation and reduction? Just think of an oil rig. Oxidation is loss, reduction is gain. Which of these represent oxidation? Which represent reduction? Equation 1 is an oxidation half reaction. An electron is lost and the iron 2 ion becomes iron 3. Equation 2 is reduction. The aluminium ion gains 3 electrons to form aluminium metal, and the oxidation state of aluminium goes from +3 to 0. Equation 3 is a reduction equation. Electrons are gained. Equation 4 is oxidation. 2 electrons are lost. When building a voltaic cell, one often starts with a half cell. A half cell, or a redox couple, consists of a metal electrode immersed in an aqueous solution containing the metal ions. A copper half cell is illustrated here. 2 half cells must be connected to build a voltaic cell. The electrodes are connected by an external wire through a voltmeter and a switch. This, however, is not sufficient for the voltaic cell to run. A salt bridge connects the solutions. The salt bridge allows migration of ions between the half cells while preventing direct contact between the half cells. In this diagram, the salt bridge is a U-shaped tube containing an aqueous salt solution, such as potassium nitrate. In some voltaic cells, a porous frit is used, or both electrodes may be immersed in the same electrolyte solution. When the switch is closed, the circuit is complete, and electrons move through the external wire. The migration of electrons through the external wire creates a current that can be used to run a motor or some other electrical device. The electrode where oxidation occurs is called the anode, and the electrode where reduction occurs is called the cathode. To help you remember this, think of an ox and a red cat. Oxidation occurs at the anode. Reduction occurs at the cathode. Let's consider what is happening at the electrode-electrolyte interface. Metal ions from the solution have a tendency to deposit on the electrode, trying to leave the electrode positively charged. Simultaneously, metal atoms from the electrode have a tendency to go into the solution as cations, leaving the electrode negatively charged. These two processes are competing. Depending on which process has the stronger tendency, a charge separation results. A potential difference develops between the electrode and the electrolyte, which is called electrode potential. When the concentrations of all the species involved in a half cell is unity, the electrode potential is known as standard electrode potential. As per IUPAC convention, standard reduction potentials are now considered as standard electrode potentials. As mentioned earlier, the anode is the electrode where oxidation occurs. The anode has a negative potential relative to the solution. By convention, the anode is considered the negative electrode in a voltaic cell. The cathode is the electrode where reduction occurs. The cathode has a positive potential relative to the solution. By convention, the cathode is considered the positive electrode in a voltaic cell. The voltaic cell we've been discussing is called the Daniell cell. The net ionic equation for the Daniell cell is given here. Zinc metal reacts with copper-2 ions to form zinc ions and copper metal. Since oxidation is a loss of electrons, the oxidation half reaction has zinc metal losing 2 electrons to form zinc ions. Reduction is a gain of electrons. So, the reduction half reaction has copper-2 ions gaining 2 electrons to form copper metal. We know that oxidation occurs at the anode. So, zinc must be the anode. Copper must be the cathode because reduction occurs at the cathode. Electrons travel through the external wire from the anode to the cathode. By convention, when drawing voltaic cells, the anode compartment is shown on the left and the cathode on the right. Generally, voltaic cells are represented using a shorthand notation instead of a diagram showing the half cells. In this notation, a galvanic cell is represented by putting a single vertical line between the metal and electrolyte solution, and putting a double vertical line between the two electrolytes connected by a salt bridge. Using this notation, a Daniell cell may be represented as shown here. Under this convention, the EMF of the cell is positive and is given by the potential of the half cell on the right-hand side minus the potential of the half cell on the left-hand side. That is, the EMF of the cell is equal to E right minus E left. Using this convention, the EMF of a Daniell cell may be calculated as shown. In an operating voltaic cell, electrons flow from the anode to the cathode. The current flows from the positive electrode, the cathode, to the negative electrode, the anode. This current flow takes place when the circuit is closed, because a potential difference exists between the two electrodes. The potential difference between the two electrodes is called the cell potential or the cell electromotive force, or EMF for short. Cell voltage is measured in volts. The potential of an individual half cell cannot be measured directly. We can only measure the difference in potential for two half cells. To simplify this, reduction potentials are measured relative to an arbitrary standard, called the standard hydrogen electrode. You will learn more about the measurement of electrode potential in the next module.